Today, I'm revealing the top ways that you can attract talented people to your team or your downline so that you can effectively build a team and dominate your market. So stick around to learn the secrets that top leaders implement to attract and retain talented top-tier agents in their businesses today. Oh, and by the way, the very last thing that I'm going to talk about in this video might be the most important part, so make sure you stick around to the end. So let's dive in. Now, before we dive in, make sure that you like and comment and share this video because that helps spread the message of the good word of growth and all things real estate. Also, subscribe to the channel because we're always giving you the best, most relevant, up-to-date information on how to grow your real estate business and all things related. So make sure that you subscribe and share this video. Also, if you have any questions or comments, feel encouraged, drop into the comments and ask any questions or give any feedback. Also, a lot of people are asking, how can we partner up? Isaac, I see that you're really good at recruiting or great at doing video, and these are pieces where I'm lacking in my business. Down below in the description, there's a link where you can book one-on-one time with me to see how I support my partners at LPT and at Real Estate CEOs. So looking forward to connecting with you there. Enough with that stuff. Let's jump right into the good stuff, which is how to recruit. Now, today, this is not going to be an exhaustive list of things that you can do. There's plenty more. And I've actually taught 2-day seminars on exactly how to do this that leads to a year-long coaching program. But what I'm going to show you today is some of the best real tactics that are working today to work and grow either a downline or a team. Also a brokerage. Right? It's not always about teams. It's not always about downlines. You might just be an independent broker or somebody who works at a brokerage that wants to grow. These will absolutely work for you too. So sorry if I left you out in the intro. So let's jump right in. One of them is going to be the more sophisticated version is like building funnels, right? So if you're familiar with direct response marketing and building out funnels, then this will be pretty straightforward. Now, this is what we've done. In the past, what we do is we always want to offer an item of value. Now, we offer an item of value, and you can do this on many different platforms. You could do it via email. Maybe you can go in your MLS and download all the emails. Maybe you already have a list of agents that you've worked with in the past or are in your market. Maybe you could reach out to another vendor partner like a title rep who has data like that, who's willing to share that and give that to you or allow you to purchase it. But the important part is that we have an item of value. By the way, you can also do it on Facebook groups to get organic reach, and then you can also pay for ads to show up and sponsored posts to show up where you're offering an item of value. And by item of value, here's what I really mean. It could be your open house checklist. It could be your listing presentation checklist. Checklists are big ones, by the way. They seem to work. It's very non-threatening. It's very straightforward. They're easy to put together, and a lot of people like them. So you can go onto a private Facebook group, maybe Real Estate Mastermind or something like that, and go, hey, I just built out my new version of my open house checklist where I'm able to get 1 out of every 8 buyers that walk through the house into my pipeline. Who's interested in learning more? And people will just start dropping their email addresses. That's a great way to build a list. Now, you have to have something valuable to offer, but in exchange for an email address, that's great. Now, you can get more sophisticated. You can run ads. You can do things like go onto lead pages and build out landing pages where people exchange that information and they automatically get the PDF. I'm sure you've been somebody who's been in one of those funnels. And then what do you do from there, though, Isaac? Great. I have my open house checklist. I made it nice and pretty in Canva, and I built out a ClickFunnels landing page or a leads page. Now I'm ready to do that. What do I do next? Well, now what you want to do is you're going to have 8 weeks of follow-up where you're just adding value via email, right? So these are things where it's just 8 weeks of 1 to 2 times a week, certainly not less than 1, and it's probably not more than 2 times a week where you're just adding value with 0 call to action. Let me repeat that, 0 call to action. You're just going to be adding value, and here's why. Because when you demonstrate that they can learn more from you, a complete stranger, for free than they learned at their last 3 months of team meetings at their current brokerage or team, what's going to happen is they're going to start seeing you as an authority. They're going to start seeing value in you as a coach, as a leader, as an authority in their marketplace to help them grow their business. And we start building what's also called a parasocial relationship. This is why YouTube generates a lot of leads now for real estate agents, by being that authority and creating that parasocial relationship with that video. So for 8 weeks minimum, you're just going to add value. And from there, what you do is you invite them now to either an in-person, if you're a local brokerage, you're not trying to grow downlines or reach outside your local market, great. You're going to invite them to some in-person or potentially virtual, if you want to go national, virtual training or event that builds up, right? And so when you do that, what you can do is then add a bunch of value there, teach and preach the right things, and then you can hit them with the offer of free coaching and an ongoing relationship in exchange for moving over to your broker or team. If you are interested in learning more about how you can do stuff like that, drop that in the comments below. I'm happy to share and go deeper and create a video just on that. Maybe even do a live training myself. Now that first one was relatively techy, right? You got to know how to create landing pages and PDFs and automatically deliver downloads, and then have an email drip system set up and all this fun stuff. This next one is a lot more traditional, analog, or old school, whatever term you want to use, but it's really simple and it's actually really powerful and might be the most powerful one. This way of attracting agents is actually using open houses. And I don't mean just going to visit open houses, although that's kind of a bonus one. When you're in the area and you see an open house, you should go connect with real estate agents. Whether or not you end up in a good relationship with them or you have a good script on how to approach them to introduce the fact that you might want to recruit them, you should be stopping by open houses on your weekends if you have the availability and time. And if you're committed to this thing called growth, then that's absolutely something you should do. I used to do it all the time when I first started building a team, and then the brokerage as well. It's something where I do my best not to miss open houses, but this is a little bit different. This is when I have a listing, when you have a listing. What you would want to do is, a lot of times you get calls, right, from these agents. Hey, can I hold your open house? Most of the time we say no. Even if you run a team, you say no. Why? Because, hey, those are for my team. Well, what if you dedicated, maybe it makes sense, and this obviously is different business to business, but maybe once a month you have a listing where you're like, this listing, if somebody calls me, I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to also keep track of every single time an agent calls me to run an open house on one of my listings, because I might not be able to give that one to them. Maybe it's the first weekend, I definitely got to run it, or I have a top producer on my team or somebody in my brokerage that I want to run it and I want to give it to them. I'm still going to record the agent's name that called and asked to run the open house. Why? Because there might be an open house down the road that's worth talking about. But then in addition to that, that's somebody that I'm going to add to my drip email campaigns as I'm marketing to the general agent population. I'm going to make sure that they're part of that list because they know that I list homes. And I know that they're hungry, and that's a good starting place for somebody I might want to introduce to my platform and bring onto the team. So here's what's great though, is when you offer up open houses to be run, and if you're in a Facebook group, a local Facebook group, San Diego Real Estate Agent Buddies or whatever that Facebook group might be called in your area, well, here's what you get to do is you can post and say, hey, I have a listing. It's the second week on the market, and I'm just curious, is there anybody interested in holding the house open because the seller's agreed or it's vacant or whatever? And whoever jumps on that, here's what you do. You then go, great, but keep in mind, this is my listing, my reputation's on the line, so we have to first meet at my office so I can tell you a little bit about what we do and how we do things and the expectations of the seller, and also just kind of interview you to learn a little bit more about you and see if it's going to be the right fit for you to represent basically my brand and not screw things up, right? So that actually gets you an in-person appointment with a hungry agent that's willing to run open houses on the weekends. And as much as that might not sound super sexy in today's day and age, I don't know about you and where you're at, but I know me and a lot of my friends are even having a hard time having our agents on our team host all of our open houses. And sometimes it's for a good reason. There's more listings that we can hold open than we have agents. Other times it's agents are busy. It's summertime right now and maybe they're out of town or unable to break away from the kids this weekend or soccer tournaments or whatever it might be. But we do know that we have an agent that's committed to doing that. In addition to that, what we're going to do is then we're going to follow up after the open house just to give them some input and get some feedback and just open up that conversation. And then we hit them with the line, hey, this seemed really great. It seems like we have a good partnership. And as much as I would love to continue to give you opportunities like this because it seems like you're really good at what you do, traditionally these are reserved for my team. This was kind of a one-off occurrence. But would you be open to having access to open houses and other lead sources like that on a more permanent basis? And if the answer is yes, then I start talking to them about joining the team. Now, does that fit in all scenarios? No, not if you don't offer leads, right? Not if you don't have listings, but we'll get to that in just a second. But this is a great way that if you have listings, you can actually screen out some amazing people and invite them in a very informal way, as opposed to like the cold call. Hey, would you consider moving to my team? How are you doing? What's business like right now? Are you happy where you're at? That kind of stuff. It still works, don't get me wrong, and it's a big part of the business. I still make cold calls every single day, but these are things that work really well, especially locally for that open house tactic. Okay, so this last one is going to be a slight twist on that first one, which is like building funnels and offering items of value. It's basically the live training route and providing that kind of stuff. But oftentimes you're going to want to partner with somebody like a mortgage partner, title, escrow, anybody who's hungry to get your business and work with more agents. They love being able to be at an event and be a sponsor, a co-sponsor, a speaker. And so oftentimes they will actually fund and promote and market and do everything that it takes to launch an event to get 50 to 100 to 200 agents in a room. And so leverage the fact that they want to be in front of agents for your advantage. And here's what we do. We call it the overexpose method. And I call it that. I don't know. Maybe other people call it different things. You've probably heard it by another name, but here's what we call overexpose. Here's what we do. We say, I'm going to show you the exact way I blank, blank, blank. Maybe it's take more listings. Maybe it's you convert online leads at 12% and you show them exactly how you do that, or how you set up your follow-up boss system to automatically schedule your day, or whatever it might be. Whatever that is, you're going to expose them to that. But here's the key. Most people, when they go up on a stage and they speak, what they do is they go, well, I'm just going to give the basics because I don't want to train my competition. I don't want to give away all my secret sauce. Here's the reality. You don't have any secret sauce. Everything you do, somebody else has done it. And there's probably already a YouTube video about it, right? So here's what I would encourage you to do is instead of I'm going to hold back some information, what you want to do is overexpose it and go, hey, I'm going to show you exactly how you can make $100,000 your first year in real estate. This is actually a true story of one that we did. And so we opened that up to newer agents, or not even your first year in real estate, but like make $100,000. And as a matter of fact, we ended up changing that. I forgot about this. It was 150. The reason why is because everyone says 150 just sounded a little differentiated us. But in either case, what we did is we broke down every single thing that we do. We broke down the business philosophy and our tech stack and all the things that we're using, and then how to get crystal clear on your lead source and how to define what a lead source is and how to calculate ROI and all these really interesting and important real life things that we did in our business. But what happened is the agent who came there to learn how to make $150,000, who thought they were going to get this easy button solution, is then overwhelmed and go, oh my gosh, that's what it's going to take. It's going to take all that, and they can feel overwhelmed. But what's happening is, one, they're being exposed to all the things that we do, and they start to see like, well, I might not be able to afford that kind of system or to be able to do that, or I don't have enough resources for this, but they do. And so by the end of the training, I could also make an invitation. I make two types of invitations. The strategy call. Hey, if you want to learn more about this, if you want us to show you exactly how we do blah, 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 and take the next step in this, right? Book a strategy session with me. I'll commit 30 minutes to answering in depth any questions you have about today's training. Or maybe you're sitting in the audience and you're like, man, this sounds like a lot, not necessarily something I'm interested in building or doing on my own, but I'd like to learn what it looks like to partner with you guys since you already have all those systems. Maybe it's joining our team or partnering with us in a different way. For me, that's like join the downline, right? Join the brokerage. But you can do that call to action. And what's crazy is even the people who book the strategy session end up asking about the team or the brokerage. They go, well, okay, that's really good. I'm glad. And that's what I thought. I had some questions about this particular thing, but also tell me a little bit more about your guys' team. Tell me about the splits. Tell me about whatever. And so this is a really great method to show I'm going to be an open playbook, but here's the danger of being an open playbook. You're going to see how everything's done. You're going to see exactly how hard it is to succeed at the highest possible level in this market. And so what happens is they have the if you can't beat them, join them type of mentality. And it works. Absolutely works. And then there's going to be plenty of people who actually take that stuff. And let me edit that. Not plenty of people. There will be a very small amount of people that hear everything you say, took really good notes, and then go out and actually execute on that. Very, very few of them. So there's not so much danger. There's not a lot of risk in overexposing people to what it is that you do. In conclusion, I need to clarify a few things. The reality of all this is that the first part to be able to do any of this, because these are all strategies and tactics, but the first part, the foundational part of all this, is that you have to be good at selling real estate, whether it's you as an individual or your team, right? There's plenty of team leaders that are no longer in production, but their team sells a lot of real estate. That's just as valid as if they sell a lot of real estate. But here's what I mean. The most attractive thing isn't the lead magnet. The most attractive thing isn't the open house. The most attractive thing to get somebody into your team or to your brokerage isn't overexposing them and overwhelming them with the amount of amazing tools and tech stacks and support that you can provide. The most attractive thing is the fact that you sell real estate more than they do, that you are successful and you have what they want. which is the ability to sell real estate in a consistent, predictable, reliable way. That's the most attractive piece. So without that, none of this will really work. As a matter of fact, I have considered, and I went solo for a little while after I left my last big team where I was the sales director for the #1 team. I realized in order to stay relevant, in order to know what's happening in an ongoing business, I had to launch a new team. So I launched a new team about 90 days ago. We're now up to 7 agents, right? Because I'm a big focus on recruitment. And so within 90 days, we grew from just 2 people to now there's 9 of us and an admin. And that's the thing, is I realized, like, if I want to continue to attract, which is important to me and my team, it's important to me for my real estate brokerage side, which is LPT, and building that out with revenue share. Those things are really important to me. And so I have to be able to point to a business that's actually producing results, right? So for example, one of our new agents, Jason, he popped his first 2 deals last week. It was amazing. He's only been on the team about 4.5 weeks. So it's a really great example of things that I know are working. Now I have the team that's actually selling real estate. I don't think I'd be able to make this video with any degree of conviction. So first, these are all strategies and tactics, but you have to be able to actually sell real estate and know what's going on and to be able to validate that. And that's the most attractive part. The other thing is that selling a lot of real estate, it makes it really easy to be able to go, hey, I do this to sell real estate. Whether I get fancy with building a funnel or not, when I communicate with people and we sell real estate, you're really attractive to the person who sells slightly less than you. So I know what you might be thinking. Hey, I only sell 15 homes a year, man, but I'd like to build revenue share. How can I do that? I don't really feel competent or confident to go out there and grow. Well, what about to the agent that sells 4 a year or is just getting started? I think they would love to sell 8, 12, 15 units a year. You can show them that. But not only that, and this is the last piece I'll end on, is when you have a big network, when you have a group of people that are constantly pouring into you. So for me, it's my upline and my growth partners in my revenue share tree over at my brokerage. My new team, small potatoes compared to my buddy Chris, who has a 600 unit business, #1 in all Nevada. My friend Jeff, who sells 1,500 homes a year with his team in South Carolina. The list goes on and on. Alex, who sells over 100 houses, right? All these people inside my network. Well, what's interesting is when you have a really big, strong network like that, you don't necessarily need to be the person who knows all the answers, who has all the information, who sells all of the real estate, who knows all of the marketing techniques, but you can be the conduit. People see value in you being the conduit to the information that they need. So if you're building a downline, for example, and you were sponsored by somebody like me or business partners who knows how to run really big businesses, well, now you could feel confident to go to maybe a team that's bigger than yours. Maybe you're a solo agent, but there's a team of 5, 6, 7, 12 people in your marketplace and you guys are friends, and you've always felt like, man, I think they'd do really well if they switched over to our brokerage model. And wouldn't it be great if they switched over under me so I can get revenue share? But what am I going to do to help them? How can I be of assistance? How would I be of any value to them? Well, it doesn't necessarily stop with you. What if I'm your sponsor? I've built teams from 9 to over 80 people. What if it's partly with Chris and all these other people who have hundreds of people on their team? Well, that's the reality of being a good conduit, is you don't have to be the creator of all the value. You just have to be a conduit to where you could point people to the items of value. So hopefully that's encouraging, because a lot of people stop before they even start because they don't have the confidence in their ability to add value to the relationship. And I'm telling you, if you have a good network, if you are in a brokerage that offers revenue share or profit share, and you have people named sponsors, right, that can help you, if they're great sponsors, then you can rely on them and their knowledge and experience and wisdom and ability to add value. And now you can confidently start building out the funnels, start offering the open houses, start overexposing people to via training. And then the people that you feel like might be a little bit above your fighting weight, you can introduce them to those people, and they will see value and they will attribute that value to you because you were the person that introduced them. So hopefully you got a ton of value in this video. And if you're interested in partnering with someone like me, or me specifically, in how I can help you grow, recruit to your team, to your brokerage, to your downline, anything like that, in the description below is a link where you can book one-on-one time with me to figure out how I actually come alongside you and assist you in that growth. And it's not just these tactics. These are just 3 that I happen to pull up today, but know that there's an entire process and program that we run on an ongoing basis to help and come alongside. So just know that that's a part, and that's an offer that I make to you and anybody who's watching this video, to go in the comments, to go into the description below, book some one-on-one time with me. Happy and excited to share more with you. Until next time, happy selling.